name is Peter Ruiter, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the routing diagnostics inside of Dynamics 365 Contact Center. So, as many of you are probably aware, Microsoft decided to move the routing diagnostics that were previously inside of Dynamics to Application Insights, which means they are no longer available through the admin center and are now only available for managed environments. Um, I created a open source project to bring back part of that functionality. And today we're going to look at how to install that, how to configure that, and what you get out of the box. So to get started with that, let's take a look at what we've built and before we go to how to actually install it. So when you're done with all of the installation, you will get Conversation Diagnostics. And with those Conversation Diagnostics, you can connect this to your Application Insights instance through the settings. You can then go to Routing Overview, which, as many of you that are actually using this quite a lot probably see, these dashboards are the ones that the FastTrack team of Microsoft provided for KQL inside of the Log Analytics Studio, but brought back into Dynamics. So I can actually click it. I get all of the information really fast, blazingly fast through APIs, and I can explain routing. So why did this happen? What happened inside of this conversation? Why didn't we get skills match? Why did it go to a fallback queue? What happened, etc., etc. I can also do that on a specific conversation, right? So if you want to get more in depth, there is, in this case, you can paste the conversation ID or the entire URL. Inside of this, you press analyze, you get the same thing as you just saw, but you get way more raw events that are there. Not only here, we also built a component that is available on the front end. Again, you can link that to an experience profile. So say you have a conversation. Let me look up a conversation. Let's say the last one. When we open up the conversation, be it a live one or a already recorded one, you have your productivity pane on the right side. And in there, there's also now the conversation analyzer. And again, you can tie that up to a experience profile. I can just put in the URL. Unfortunately, it can't pick up the context automatically because the productivity pane is not context or session aware, but copying the URL will give you exactly this. So all of the things that you just saw with all of the raw eventing right here next to the conversation where it happens. So great. Let's talk a little bit about how to set this up. Now, there are a few prerequisites. Let's first move to the admin center, right? So if you're inside the admin center, to get started with these routing diagnostics, you will have to make sure that your environment is, in this case, a managed environment. So you click your environment, load it up, and you have to make sure that this is set to yes. If it's not set to yes, you can set it back to, you can set it to yes. Mind that you can't turn it back. Mind there are implications on licensing of flows, etc. I'm a big fan of managed environments. I would highly suggest you do it. Just check on the result before you set it to yes, because it's not easy to get it back to no. With that, you can then go to data export, where you will find a App Insights button. Now, this is the place where we connect it to Application Insights. But before we do that, we actually have to create a App Insights installation. So to do that, we are going to go to the Azure portal, and we are going to create a App Insights instance. So I got my resource group that I'm attaching to this environment, which is the CCAS demo. And here I'm pressing create. I'm looking for Application Insights. Click the create button. Just go with the defaults. I don't need to do anything else. I can obviously name it, in this case, CCAS Demo App Insights. And yes, I can't do spaces, so let's do it like that. And the default workspace is fine. You can create a new workspace, but let's leave it at this. Review and create. There we go. Give it a few moments to actually create something, and then it's ready. Now we need a few IDs for later, right? So if you are going to do this, mind that if you're in here, you immediately note down these IDs. That makes it much easier for later. So once you're in here, right, you can go all the way down to API access, and this is the ID that you should note down, the application ID, right? So let's copy that over, and then we will use that with the installation. Now, going forward, we also need a application registration, right? So to do that, to make the connection to our App Insights workspace, we need to communicate from Dynamics to the App Insights workspace. We need an app registration. So we're doing that through, in this case, Enter ID. Then we will go to App Registrations, and we will create a new one. Now I can name this whatever. Let's say I want to call this Conversation Diagnostics CCAS demo. I don't need a redirect URL. It's all fine like this. Yeah. So, and then we need a client ID, right? So this is the one that we're copying, and we need a secret that is attached to it. Basically, the way we log in. So use this secret. Go to secrets. Create a new client secret. Give it a name. Give it an expiration date. Press add. And then copy over the value. So we need the value of the secret here as well. Now we need to give this app registration access to the telemetry, right? So let's go back to the Application Insights that we just created. Go to the access control. Add a new role assignment. Pick reader as the role. And then select the member. Now give that the same exact name as you just put in. And then press review and assign. And then you're done. So now we got the Azure part set up, right? Let's start with importing the solution. So the solution is available on GitHub. The link is in the comments of this video. You'll find it in my personal GitHub, Peter Ruiter, and then the 365 Conversation Diagnostics. All of the steps are in here, right? And in the middle of it, you'll find a releases tag where you can actually download this zip file, the solution file that we're going to import inside of Dynamics. So when you download that, we can then go into the make environment. So when we're in the make environment, make sure that you are in the right environment there, right? We are going to go to solutions, and we're going to say, I want to import a solution. Now pick if you want to have a managed one or an unmanaged one, right? I'm picking the managed one, pressing next, and then it will import. Now I did that because it takes a few minutes, so I imported it for you. On the import, when you are importing it, it will ask you for these environment variables. Now, these environment variables are the IDs that you just put in, right? That you just copy down. So in this case, I have the client secret, which is the secret of the value that you created in your App Insights. Let me put it as plain fallback. You can also select to have that secret stored in a key vault, which is my preference. But if you want to have it saved inside of Dataverse or have it easily accessible, you can use that as a fallback. We have the client ID of the app registration. I got the App Insights ID, that is the ID that we first noted down, right? And then I got the tenant ID. Now the tenant ID is on your overview page of your Entra, and in this case, it's my tenant ID. I can save and close. I can also edit these values later through the settings page inside of Dynamics, but you'll get this question on importing immediately. Now, with this done, everything has been imported. Everything is ready. I still need to add that to my sitemap, right? So depending on which page you want to do where, we can actually add this to the sitemap. So let's go to apps. In this case, I want to add it to my customer service admin center. Let's edit it here. And then wherever you want to add this, I can then say I want to have a new group. And then I want to add a page. Now, one of the pages is the settings page, which is a web resource. So I'm going to pick the web resource, and then I'm going to search for the Power Settings page. Power Pete Settings page. I'm going to call it Settings. I'm going to add it. And you'll see that it will load up that Conversation Diagnostics. All of these environment variables that we just filled in, they are now available here. Now, next to that, I also want to add a new page that is a custom page. And the custom page in my environment, you can see that it loaded up these two. I can add them both. And then it says you need to publish it first. I can obviously move things up and down, if you will. We got everything. Let's move it up a bit. So we can easily find it. There we go. And then we say save and publish. Takes a good while to publish. So your patience is tested. Mind that before we do that, we go back. We go to the solutions, and then we also publish all of our customizations, right? Because the import of that solution, we need to publish everything. This also takes a while. So again, our patience is tested a bit. Then when everything is published, we can actually go into our Copilot Service Admin Center and see the new group. And I didn't name the group, but you can see the settings page that we added, our routing overview page that is here, that will take up all of the actual items, right? And you can test if this is correct, right? If you press test here, it will try to connect with all of the secrets and the fallback, etc. if that is all running for you. And then we have the conversation analyzer that uses this as well. Now, this is all set up. If you want to have it also as a productivity pane tool, we need to do one more step, right? So if we want to do that, there is one more step that we need to do. We go to productivity, and then on the productivity page, there are productivity tools where we can go to manage. And we can then add a new tool. So I can say I want to add a new tool. And then let's fill in a few things. The conversation analyzer as a name, a unique ID. The type that we want to do is a control, right? It's a PCF component. And then the control name and mind. This is very important to get this exactly right, exactly the same. Is that you can pick an icon. Global will leave to no. If you set it to yes, it will also show on the home screen. If you set it to no, it will only show in a session, right? And that's what I want. I don't want to show it on the home screen. You put in the description if you want, but this is basically it. We're saving it. And then we go to workspaces and the experience profiles, because we actually need to have that productivity tool service inside of an experience profile. So I'm picking my default experience profile and then press edit. And now you can see that that conversation analyzer is actually here, and I can set it to on. Perfect. So let's see if we go to the Copilot Service workspace. Now, if I go to any conversation, right, and I can generate some new conversations, obviously, because there's no data in my application insights yet, right? But let's see if the tool services. So I can click this, open it up, and then it doesn't show it yet, but let's Control F5, just do a force refresh to see if the actual productivity panes are now. There we go. And now it shows up, and it shows a puzzle icon because I didn't pick an icon, but there it is. So I now also have this conversation analyzer. So through the experience profiles, you can actually tell like, hey, this is, I actually want this to be only available for these people. Now let's generate some data, right? Now there's one more step that we absolutely need to do, right? So we set up that Application Insights, but we also need to have that export going. So we're going back to the managed environments. We're selecting our environment here. We go to data export. We go to App Insights and create a new data export. So in this case, I'm calling it demo export, give it a name, and then you pick the customer service preview export. You pick your managed environment, and you can see it's only pickable if it is a managed environment. You pick the subscription that you want to look for, your App Insights instance, and then you can drill down till you get to that specific one. Now we press create, and it says connected, right? So now everything is set up. We can actually go back to the customer service workspace and generate some data. So in this case, let me set up a call. Reset myself to available, and then we get the incoming call. So if I accept this call, now it went through all of the routing. All of these things will get captured, right? And we can see that the conversation analyzer is there as well. So let me end the call here. So we have the diagnostics that we need, and we can actually see what's happening. Now, it takes a good few minutes to actually end up in your App Insights log workspace, right? So give it a few minutes. If I paste this URL right now and I press load, you can see that nothing is loading because it hasn't ended up yet inside of the conversation analyzer or inside of the app analytics thing. So let me close this down. Let me go back to my customer service admin center. Right, let me go to my routing overview. And in this case, I can see all of the incoming work. And again, Give it a few minutes and then it will be there. And there we have it. So it took a good 2 minutes before it ended up here, right? So now I can see that in this case, my work item from just now is in there. I get all of the classification details. There are no classification rules set up, but I can see them here. Route to queue rules, the assignment details, right? And you can see it was assigned by least active. Is an agent assigned? All of that is in here. And I can also say, well, I want to explain this routing. So why did it actually go to this assignment cycle? Now, again, this goes for all of your work items, right? If I want to go to this specific thing, I copied over the URL of my conversation item before, right? You can see that I can also see all of the raw metrics. Now, this was obviously a very quick call with very limited rules and very limited skill set, etc. But you can imagine that if you have all of these here, this gives you incredible insights into why things are routed a certain way, why they end up at a certain agent. I think it's a very helpful tool. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. If you want to add to it, it is an open source project that is on GitHub. You are free to add to it or ping me at any time.